Do you have goals, dreams, and aspirations that may not even be yours? Are you saying yes to any and everything just to feel a sense of success? Let's get into the trap that a lot of entrepreneurs fall into, where they're following a version of success that's not even theirs, and how they can break free from it. So if you want to learn more about that, if you relate to that, make sure that you stay tuned to this episode. And
break my soul. You won't break my soul. You won't break my soul. I'm telling everybody.
Hi, ladies. Welcome back to the MadeHerselfABoss podcast, where we discuss methods and mindsets of making more money in your business. I am Bree. This is my beautiful business partner, Shy, and today we are getting into it. Mm-hmm. So you probably saw the intro like, what the heck? What do you mean goals that aren't even mine? Mm-hmm. Do you know how many of us subconsciously have goals and aspirations, and I want to live here and I want to do this and I want to achieve that, and the whole time those aren't even really the goals that we really want.
Yeah.
Those are the goals that we think other people want to see us in, or that we are comparing ourselves to achieve, and just all that stuff. So that's what we're going to be discussing in this episode. So like, how do you think that we even fall into that trap? Why do you feel like so many entrepreneurs fall into that trap?
I mean, my brain goes to the beginning, and not the beginning when God created the earth, but the beginning where we were born into this earth, right? And we came out of the womb full of light, love, and abundance, and then we got introduced to our parents and our cousins, aunties, and all of them, right? And maybe some of that light started dimming just a tad bit or a few, because now we are a lot of their influence, societal influence, and our experiences have affected some of the goals that we do want, we don't want, and didn't even know that were put on us.
Yeah.
I think naturally what comes up for me when that happens, and we end up achieving a goal, or we end up doing things that weren't even in alignment to where we are. We're misaligned. And naturally, it's misaligned because it doesn't feel good to you deep down within yourself. Think about the person whose families are all doctors, right? And you birthed out, and you are naturally, beautifully a creative. Mm-hmm. But in the household, it is a mandatory thing for you to become this doctor or this thing. You naturally put on a goal that wasn't even yours. If you don't fight it or go against it, you just naturally get in line and do it. It wasn't even yours, knowing it doesn't even feel good to you because that's not naturally who you are or called to be, right? So I think about how parents, one factor of many, parents can put on goals on us that we subconsciously sink in and do because, it's going to make them proud. It's what everyone else in my family did. It's what I'm supposed to do, even though this is not even in alignment to what you even want to do for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so interesting and so true that we're starting literally like from the beginning, from our individual beginnings. Yeah. Because that's so core and that's so important, and just bringing up like the parenting aspect. Because I'm actually on that chapter. I have Shy reading. I'm always putting her on the books. I have Shy reading a book called The Business of Family, and there is a really good chapter in there talking about legacy and kind of pushing your kids to go a certain way, and how important it is to let them shine and be on their own and figure out what it is that they want to do. Yeah. I think that it's important and helpful to like encourage your kid for them to see like what's possible, right? Yeah. And we'd all rather that than having a child with no direction. We would love for them to see like a wonderful example. Yeah. We all do this. This is what we're proud of, X, Y, Z. But as parents, or at some point when we have to parent ourselves, therapy moment, we have to figure out what feels good for me. Like, what are my actual goals and desires? Yeah. Parents, for those of you who have kids or are going to be having kids, ask your child that question often. Don't tell them what they're going to do. Ask them what they want to be and go off of that. It's so important to establish that individualism, that imagination, that creativity, because like you said, they may not want to be a doctor. Or if they want to be a doctor, maybe they just want to be like something else in the family or bring a creative aspect to it, just not exactly that. And that comes with an incredible sense of just knowing yourself, listening to yourself, valuing how you feel and your opinion and your thoughts and everything. And as entrepreneurs, a part of us kind of wanted that already. You know, a part of us took it upon ourselves to step out in some form or fashion, believing that we can do it along with the team, depending on what it is that you're doing. But you know that we have something that we want to push forward and contribute to the world. So just as we treat the business as that, we should treat our individual goals as that as well. It is your unique proposition. It is something that God has blessed you with, and it's just so key to know yourself in order to even know what your goals are versus what you're being told that they should be.
That's good. So parents was one. Society. I'm leaving the obvious one last. Social media. But society is one. I feel like sometimes society could put on us what these goals or what success is, right? We're having society define what success is for us. And our parents of days, success was working a job 40 hours and living off of retirement, having your white picket fence and the dog in the back, whatever, right? They defined that as success. And a lot of them were trying to achieve that success.
That was the American dream.
That was the dream, right? And that was put on by society and commercialism and all the things that they do to get us to buy. Did you know breakfast was never really a thing? It was commercial. It was for them to make sales. Did y'all know that breakfast was never really
is anything that breaks that fast. You don't have to have eggs, okay?
Did you know, like, when you research where breakfast came from? I know it's so side note, but when you research where breakfast came from, you realize it was literally to make more money in a company. Like, they influenced doctors and all these things to help their patients, influence their patients. Okay, either way. The point is society can play a part in determining what success looks like. And next thing you know, we have these goals that were never really ours internally. And a lot of things seep in, the keyword seeps in subconsciously, and we're naturally achieving these goals. How many of us were told to go to high school, elementary school, middle school, high school, right? Then go to college, graduate college, get that job, and then that is the natural dream. That is the natural success. You have made it when you've done these things. And you are slowly finding out, or have already found out, that that is not necessarily the path to success, but it's something that society has pushed on us as a goal to achieve that is not naturally, maybe doesn't feel good to us. As far as going to college, like, you have to go to college to be X. You have to do this, have this piece of paper to be so successful. And there's so many people out here who are successful that have not been to college and are doing amazing.
I mean, my fiance he tells me this stat every day. 70-some% of millionaires didn't go to college. And and it's not, we're not saying don't go that route. This
we're not
is
saying
simply because we need doctors, child. This is simply just an example of finding what you individually deem as success and finding out your individual path to achieving that. Society, there's so many people, if you don't go like that cookie cutter American dream route, you have there's some disappointment on yourself because you're not meeting that standard. Like, not even giving yourself the permission or even the thought that maybe my path could be different, and that's completely okay. Yes, some people are going to be disappointed or whatever, but that's them again. And it doesn't necessarily have to be your parents. It could be anybody, like superimposing their goals, their standards, their view of success on you. And that may not necessarily be it. Some people want to be off the grid. Some people want to farm. Some people really just want to spend time with the animals. That's perfectly okay. So it's so important. I think that the running theme of this is going to be going back to every single time knowing yourself. Knowing yourself and fighting back against that. And that, should we go to commercial first before we bring in that big one? Or we can tell them before commercial.
We can go to commercial. They can wait.
Okay. Right after this commercial, we're going to go, and you probably know what this is. We're going to discuss the biggest culprit of why we may be following someone else's goals instead of our own. So right after this commercial break.
If your marketing's not making you money, then what are you really doing?
You've been posting, showing up, and doing all the right things, but still the sales are inconsistent. The inquiries dry, the engagement not translating to cash.
Look, it's not your fault that no one ever taught you how to market to make money, but that's all about to change. Join us March 27th at 7 p.m.
for the Market to Make Money webinar. We're breaking down the biggest mistakes keeping your marketing from converting, the real reason your content isn't bringing in cash, hint, it's not the algorithm, and the exact steps to attract, engage, and sell without begging for business or waiting on likes to turn into clients. So if you're ready to stop marketing for the sake of marketing and start marketing to make money, then pull up.
See you March 27th at our free webinar. Click the link and sign up today.
We'll see you there. Hey guys, welcome back from that commercial break. You already knew what was coming. We were going to get into our third biggest reason and way where you might be borrowing else's someone's idea of success, and that is social media. The same thing that you're probably listening or watching us on right now. And with social media, I think that the biggest culprit with that is just the comparison. We're seeing the other entrepreneurs with the big house, and they're all driving like G-Wagons, and you know, they're all kind of doing the same thing that I think is trendy. And with social media, it's crazy because with the first two, it's like a parental thing or like a societal thing. Those things to me kind of move like slow and out of what other people think are like necessity. But with social media, this stuff is trends. You know, most people are comparing themselves to trends. You know how many people went to Mexico that 1 year right after the pandemic?
Right.
Because that was success. I gotta go to Mexico and I gotta have like the flowers in the pool with like the floating breakfast.
Yes.
Like, you know, and comparison, just like I said in the Bible, is going to be, you know, it's the thief of happiness. Too much comparison of what your specific entrepreneurial journey has to look like. You don't always have to live in a high rise and, like I said, drive a G-Wagon and all this other stuff. What is success to you is just making sure that your bills are paid consistently. It's just like buying your mom something nice to say thank you for her for supporting you for all these years. What if it's just having a peace of mind? Or what if it's like living in a countryside? The possibilities are infinite, right? And so when you take away comparison and start because social media is not going anywhere. So start looking at it like ideas, like planning out what you want your own individual journey to look like, and maybe finding that tribe or your tribe, and you're looking at them for ideas instead of comparing what it should look like. That's what I think we should rather be doing. But that's like huge. We're really walking around with other people's goals.
Yeah, I think what happens is constantly and consistently you're seeing these things, right? I forgot the percentage, so it's going to be quoted wrong, but naturally we are faced with over 200 marketing pieces, whether it's campaigns, it's words, whatever it is, billboards, etc., on a daily basis. And social media, another culprit, a good and bad culprit, right? You're faced with all these imageries and subliminal messages, and then seeping into you. And when Bree said, if you don't know who you are and whose you are, and the foundation of that, right? The foundation of becoming, another episode. But if you don't know those things, right, you're naturally going to look at this stuff that's being presented in front of you consistently, right? And naturally, subconsciously, you're going to start, you know what? Let me do that. Let me start doing that. Let me start achieving that.
Yeah.
Knowing that that's not a goal that you had for yourself. Now, I do think it's cool to see something and want to aspire to it if it feels good to you. I think that's okay, but I think it's something different when you are starting to put on all of these things on yourself that was never naturally what you wanted for yourself, but because it's a trend or because you think everyone else is doing it, you're doing it. Comparing, like you said, comparing your chapter 2 to someone's chapter 50 or chapter 25 is
crazy work.
Crazy, right? Everybody, we all have our journey. We all have our ups and downs. And that comparison will leave you stuck and stagnant and going absolutely nowhere versus looking at somebody's chapter 25 or 50 like, amen. All right. And going and continuing your process. So be very careful. And also, you know, people say be careful what you ask for or never wish for someone else's life because you don't know what they had to go through to get to where they are today. And even if you did, could you even do it? Could you hold that weight? Could you? Right? So be very, very careful on the things that you're speaking over your life of what you want to experience when you're looking at other people's chapters, because you have no idea because it presents and it looks very nice, right? But you don't know the turmoil, the fight, the depression, the almost killing themselves or whatever it was that they went through to become who they are, their chapter 50. So be very cautious.
You're so right
Tread
about
light
that.
on that.
Yes. So here's where we get into the meat and the potatoes of it all. And we have been, of course, touching on, I don't think we could have gotten through all that without kind of touching on it.
Yeah.
But just defining your own view of success.
Yeah.
So like that's defining your own goals. You know, what do you want to achieve within this year, 3 years, 5 years, what your life, like whatever that looks like. And then backing into it with a blueprint of your specific goals. And before we even like dig deeper into that, I think that that's so important because you're going to have all these distractions that we talked about earlier in the episode. But when you have your own blueprint, you can kind of shield that off because you know what you're going to be doing.
Correct.
You know what you're doing, okay? And I think a lot of that creeps in because we don't know what we're doing. Like, first of all, what our goals are or even how to get there. So other people's advice comes in and other people's help. And next thing you know, where you're moving is not even where you planned on moving. So having that blueprint is so important.
Yeah, that's good. So let's not define your success, but let's define or create your success blueprint. First thing Brittany said is to do what? Reframe your idea of what success looks like. What does success look like for you? Right? That's the first step. Once you get that down and have an understanding, now you can look at it and say, okay, what do I want to accomplish with the next 3 to 5 years? Or if you want to back it up, 1 to 3 years. What do I want to accomplish? What because of what success looks like to me, for me, personal me, not anybody else, then look back, okay, within 1 to 3 years, what does that look like? What am I accomplishing? I think making sure that they align with the vision that you set for yourself as far as your definition of success is crucially important to what's next happening for you. Yeah, I think those are your first 2 steps. Then once you figure out what those 3 to 5 things are going to look like within your 1 to 3 years, then like Bree said, let's back into it. Let's get the first natural 3 steps to get there. Let's start backing into the 1 to 3 year plan so that you already know it. And give yourself grace when the plan changes because you're evolving on your road to becoming, right? So you can change your mind.
Give yourself that grace. So we hope that this episode gave you tons to think about as far as am I borrowing someone else's view of success? Like, I know that this might be like an eye opener for you. Like, you're right. I really don't want to do that. And this is how you can just identify that, where that problem could be coming, and most importantly, how you can start to define your own success and move that direction with confidence, with grace, and with strength.
Yeah. So do us a good favor. We want you to subscribe. We want you to share this video out with 3 of your great good friends. And we want you to write a comment below on how this episode was for you. When you guys do those 3 things, it helps us expose so many other people to the business gospel that is Made Herself a Boss. And when you do that, we greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate you for doing so because our goal is to impact more people with our mission. So do us those 3 favors. And do your journal prompts below or in the show notes if you're listening to us. And I'm telling you, those journal prompts will help you become more than what you are today.
Yes. With that being said, we will see you on the next episode. Ladies, take care.
Bye.